Hello and welcome to the show. We are back at the Bajarama circuit driving 3 more vehicles till destruction, starting with essentially a tub on some off-road suspension. This is the Rock Bouncer, and as you can imagine, it is very, very good at climbing over rocks and adverse terrain and probably cars, just about anything that really gets in its way. The thing is, these sort of vehicles tend not to fare very well at the Bajarama circuit. Well, the only other one that's gone around is the Hell Jeep that died in that shed with a lost wheel on its first lap. The difficulty is that the wheels on these are horrendously exposed. Now, great, got huge ground clearance. It's great for climbing over sort of rock formations and up the side of mountains. Not so great for a Baja circuit if we don't land perfectly flat and level. So much force goes through the wheels, and the wheels are so large as well for all of the force to be applied to, they tend to just get snapped off. It's not really what we want to have happen here. And these things lose one wheel, and chances are it's not going to be driving anywhere too quickly. I've got to be very, very careful with this Jeep. Oh, as we're going to end up off the map. One of the things I've got to watch out for is this is a very fast version. I've got 1,400 horsepower available to me in this, and it is very, very easy to soar clean off the map. As we saw there, admittedly that was more because of the slightly bouncy landing, but this thing is so horrendously quick. If it does find grip, I will just soar it straight off the map. So I've got to try and find enough speed to get across these jumps cleanly, get a nice landing, and to be fair, if I get a poor landing, oh, bad things are going to go on here. Oh, saved it, look at that! We kind of got an endo into a drift there. That's impressive going from the Rock Bouncer. Yeah, we've got a lot of acceleration, but it's not very controlled acceleration. There's a lot of wheel spin going on. There's not a huge amount of rear end grip. It's not designed to deal with cornering at 40, 50 miles an hour. It's designed for, well, this sort of stuff, very slowly driving over hills. I say very slowly driving over hills. I mean, it drives over absurd terrain that no vehicle really should drive over, and is very good at that. However, we have made it further than the Hell Jeep did, which is nice, even with all that. Actually, that is about as good a crash as you can get with this. It's landed perfectly on its roof and just been dragged along. Trying to right it, I am a little bit nervous. We kind of don't want to have it... come on. Oh, bloody hell. Roll, tip, over in some direction. I've got to be careful because it would be quite easy to actually snap the wheels off just trying to right the damn vehicle. We have got away with that, though, quite nicely. Now, fourth gear is where I want to be at. However... Oh, uh-oh, no, bad. Come on, land it. Oh, dear. The issue, as we have seen time and time again with off-road orientated vehicles, they bounce. They bounce around quite a lot, and this one here is apparently no exception. We've got to try and we want to get a rhythm up. Like, I know it's got the speed here to make these no problem. We've got to get a rhythm of some sort if we want to hold any kind of control, and we just didn't get it started well, and it didn't end well particularly. Let's say it hasn't ended well, it's still in one piece. That is kind of the critical bit here. Here we go. The first of the trebles, the second of the trebles, and the third. Yep, that's perfect. Oh, although not so perfect when I'm trying to get on the brakes. We like doing endos down there. I think I have got a slightly bent wheel somewhere around on this from one of those impacts. Kind of to be expected, really. Oh, I am much more expecting a wheel to ping off long before we have sort of steering issues. Oh, that's a save and a half. The articulation of the suspension will save it in some circumstances like that. For example, in other circumstances, I think it could give it some problems around a course such as this. However, we are on to our second lap, and that is all very, very important. We are keeping it just about out of trouble. Stop sliding. Please stop sliding around. I just want to put some power down out of these corners. There is so much power on tap for making it across these jumps. Look at that. Perfect once more. Now, will it remain perfect? It's not damaged enough to have been slowed it down at any... Well, let's say it does slightly pull, but it's not damaged enough to slow it down for any of these jumps. The problem is all it takes is a little bit of oversteer at the wrong moments. Oh, like that, for example. That's exactly the sort of thing we don't want to have happen. Bugger. I'm not sure if this is going to work. Really, I am not sure if this is going to be drivable. Do we have... It doesn't actually have locking diffs, unfortunately. No, none of the options. It would be in powertrain. It doesn't have a locking diff option. It is still working, though, without that front wheel. Okay, that's good. It's kind of working. The issue now I foresee is radiator springs is not going to be particularly fun. I mean, we might be able to still do it, you know. Possibly with that front dragging on the ground. We're going to give it a try regardless. Here we go. Second gear, second gear, second gear. Uh-oh. Oh! Okay, that's not great, is it? Oh, twist, come on. Don't land on that. Don't land on the good side. Land on that side. That side's okay. That side's okay. You can land on that side. Just sort of rest there for a second, Rock Bouncer. We will recover you. We will turn you back on. Oh. Alright, we're fine. We're fine. We're still working. We're still just about driving. I'm amazed we actually got the speed up across there. So now, as far as our gears go, because first and second are very, very short gear ratios. Third is now such a high gear ratio that it doesn't really drive at any speed. So we've got to pretty much... Okay, we've got to keep it in second and just rev the nuts off it. Oh, dear. Oh, come on, land, 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 land. Stop stalling. I don't think I've had a vehicle stall as much as this one. I will admit that this one here is quite a crazy, high-powered monster. Are we gonna... What's going on with it? It's... It's malfunctioned. I don't know why. Why is that malfunctioned? I've obviously twisted... In that roll, something's twisted. And it just doesn't go anymore. Okay, what happens if we do... No, if we do that, it stalls. This is a weird one. It has died. It's died in a very peculiar manner. There's obviously some driveline problem has gone on in that, and it's now stalling out completely. I've just seen where the... Oh, do these have, like, brakes? I've just had a... I was going to say, why is there a brake there? I was thinking that was, like, the whole... something got twisted and got there, but do they have a brake or, like, like an inboard brake on these? Is that how that works? Quite possibly, rather than in the wheel hub itself. Yeah, I think they might actually have... Okay, ignoring that, I was trying to have a look, see if I could figure out what we've got going on here that's causing it to... I mean, I would almost say it was, like, clutch problems or something. I don't know. It's dead. The Rock Bouncer has died from some drive-related issue. The engine still works. You can clearly see the engine's still working. So when we try to put it in first, it doesn't want to go. Now, I do have it on an automatic clutch, but this is not a problem I've ever had come up with another vehicle, and it's I feel like it's some sort of differential-related problem with it missing a wheel. It's now not even attempting to do anything. The Rock Bouncer is dead. It made it a lot further than the Hell Jeep, however. As expected, though, it got away with a couple of twists, a couple of crashes. Yeah, just one faint bit of oversteer at the wrong moment, and that is you in a world of trouble. Minus a wheel on the Rock Bouncer. It made it a little bit further on three wheels, but then has given up the ghost with some driveline problem. So, keeping with our off-road theme, I have got a van. This off-road vanster was very impressive when it came to the Canyon Rally series. Surprising amount of speed, very, very good control, and some serious heavy-duty suspension. If anything, this is perhaps the heaviest duty vehicle. If we ignore the rock crawlers, because their suspension, while immense, is designed for a very different purpose. Yeah, this... perhaps the most suitable vehicle that has gone around this course. The thing is, all of the off-road orientated vehicles that have gone so far have all struggled. In fact, they've all struggled quite a lot. So I'm kind of curious to see how this one will fare. Is it going to be able to make the 4 laps? Is it going to be able to beat that Caldera? I don't know. I don't know. I think it does stand a fairly good chance if the suspension doesn't get broken. And this is one of the problems that we see time and time again with... with these off-road spec vehicles, they bounce. They bounce an awful lot on landings, and that can cause no end of problems, especially when the suspension starts collapsing. When it collapses on a road car, well, they kind of just end up smashing the chassis on the floor consistently, and provided it's not damaging the drive shaft, they can often get away with it. Realistic? Maybe not, however, that's how it works in Beam. And when the off-road cars have their suspension collapse, they bounce around horrendously on the landings, likely to roll, tip over a lot, and tear off wheels. So we've got to be very careful of, well, I say very careful, we've got to hope that it doesn't happen for quite some time as we come across radiator springs. Oh, you can see how much it's moving about now. For the most part, this is okay. We haven't had too much in the way of issues so far on these landings. You can see the beam's a little bit broken, but nothing terrible has gone on with the van. So this is another one that I've got to be careful that I don't go clearing the course, because it's not quite as fast as some of the ridiculous vehicles that go around here, but it is very rapid if you allow it. Now this should have the speed to get this section here quite nicely. Oh, okay, we've got to lift off here. We're going to go for a roll. Nothing I can do about that one, and we're over. It's fine. It worked a little while, and then it stopped working. We might be able to go to this next motocross section. We are probably stand a better chance, actually. We've got to get it good, though, from the start. We've got to get it right across here. Too fast, and you actually end up in trouble for this first bit. Our steering is a little bit twisted. Our steering is actually quite a lot bit twisted. I can't get it back in a line again. Oh, actually, no, it's not too bad. Now that's... stop rolling, please. It's not too bad when it was just scraping down the road on its side. When it started rolling, that's when you run the risk of snapping off wheels and so on. Yeah, we've got some... Oh, we had some steering issues heading into that second motocross section. We've come out with work. You can see the alignment on that rear wheel is not great. The suspension has held up. The suspension is, you know, still in one piece. It's bobbing around a bit. However... yeah, the problems we're going to have now is losing control at vital seconds when approaching jumps because of the damage we've sustained, and it's only going to take one twist at the wrong point, I fear, to snap the suspension or to break something important at the rear of the truck, and then we will just bounce around all over the road until something in it dies. However, we're on to our second lap. The radiator, importantly, is still in one piece. We don't have that ticking time bomb to worry about just yet. Oh, please get turned, van. You've lost a lot of your nice handling characteristics. You see, whereas we got away with that landing fairly nicely, whereas we could, you know, easily make that flat out from that angle. On the last time around, we're not going to be able to do it. Ooh, then we've got a little bit of a bounce, a little bit of a nosedive across that jump, but we're not doing too heavier an impacts for now. We're still getting away with it. It's not particularly, it's not as fun to drive. It's not as nice to drive handling-wise. However, we are surviving. In fact, I've still got enough speed to get across there quite cleanly. Oh, really? There's a tiny nick on the floor. We rolled 3 times and you're fine, but that's what killed the radiator. Bloody typical, isn't it? Oh, don't spin off out there. That would not be good in terms of trying to make it across radiator springs. Here we go. And we are, across. We hit the back. Thankfully, I think that was more... kind of bodywork and chassis than that was actual suspension, so not done any more damage to the rear of the truck. Should still have enough acceleration. Yeah, we actually have more than enough acceleration down here. We have so much that we'll get ourselves into a world of trouble across there, so we have to be a little bit careful. Now these bits, I don't know what we're going to be able to do. I want to be able to... oh no, we've just got no... we're not quite as bad as the rock bouncer yet. Ooh, uh-oh. We're going to go twist the other way and come back down for a landing. Yep. We're not quite as bad for the rock bouncer, was for sudden random oversteer, but with that positive camber we've got going on, it's not helping in terms of control. Kind of want to keep the front end up a little bit. The front wheels don't look like they're going to buckle. Doesn't look like we're going to lose steering, thankfully. I say lose steering, lose more steering than we currently have. We are lacking. Uh-oh, this might not be good because we've lost momentum coming down here. That's definitely not going to be good because that's the front of the truck into the ground. Oh, gonna go for one more tumble. Oh, not quite. Not quite all the way over. Oh, we're gonna come back. Are we actually going to... I mean, I guess if we could, like, dome the top of the van nice enough, it'll get to a point where it can't land on its roof. That would be quite useful. That would be quite useful. We've got one side ready for that. Can we get the other side next time around? If we can just squish that, then we can have it so that it will always land back onto its wheels. That'd be quite an interesting thing. Right, there are some robots. I remember from old series of Robot Wars that tried to work like that. Never really did, by having the kind of domed area in such a way that it would not be able to land on the top. Well, we've made it onto our third lap, and so far things are going okay for the van. The temperature gauge is now starting to, as I creep up, it's actually shot up. Now, we're not going to be able to make it onto a fourth lap, I do not think. The suspension has held up, although, the steering has got considerably worse. The steering has got considerably worse. In fact, has that suspension held up at the back? Yes, it has. I'm surprised. Kind of am in some ways, with the way that off-road vehicles have tended to fare around here. Obviously, this heavy-duty suspension is strong enough to get away with it. Oh, we've got big steering issues now. It doesn't look any worse than it was, but we have got big steering problems from the van. Oh, try and get it slowed down for this corner before going skating off into the distance. Yeah, big steering problems. Big overheating problems, though. Oh, we've lost some power as well. Oh, the rear suspension's gone. I've just seen the rear suspension has completely and utterly collapsed on us. Look at that. Now it's bouncy McBouncy. What's going on with the rear of it? It's just destroyed itself. On that one, it wasn't even a big landing. It wasn't a heavy impact. It's just gone. I mean, I guess we couldn't have this without the suspension dying at some point, but that is one hell of a death. It's just all collapsed. Oh, and the steering's... Oh, look at how wonky the front... It's just all died on this third lap. It's just all given up the will to live, whether it be... Oh, that's the engine gone. It's overheated and cut out. We've made it to the hairpin on our third lap. I mean, we're an entire lap down behind that Daytona. The rear suspension collapse at the end there was not quite the problem. If that had gone at any other point on the run, I'm pretty sure it would have lasted about half a lap more before it plows itself into something and gets destroyed. Because you saw how much that was bouncing at really low speeds. That's not good when it collapses that badly. We'd also lost a lot of front steering towards the end there. And you can see the cambers that we've got going on with that front right wheel, the front left's at a wonky angle. It's not a pretty sight. It's fared relatively well as far as off-road vehicle goes. As I said, perhaps the heaviest duty suspension we've had around this course. But you've got to remember there's still a van on top of it. That's a lot of weight to carry around here. And in the end, it was a relatively small thing that snapped or broke whatever it was that went in that rear axle. It just went completely, catastrophically in one go. A relatively small jump, amazingly surviving a lot of the heavier landings. But, yeah, it would go out with overheating. However, there are a lot of other problems that would not have taken long, I think, to kill it. And to finish off for today, we are going to be using a pigeon. Now, as silly as this may sound, the last time we took a pigeon around here, I used the 600cc version, the relatively fast pigeon. It actually made it all the way onto its third lap. It was holding on in the top 3 for quite some time. Quite some time in the series, and it's still well within the top 10. So, how might the base model pigeon fare? It's got a smaller engine. It's not going to be anywhere near as fast, but it's still relatively light, so it might be able to get a half-decent turn of speed to make it across some of the jumps. And while, yes, it is a 3-wheeled vehicle, it is likely to tumble over at some point, the pigeons are incredibly tough, unless there has been an update to them that I don't think any of the recent updates have affected the pigeon. These are ridiculously strong vehicles. They can survive incredible amounts of punishment. It's going to need to, though. It's really, really going to need to. And of course, the main area of concern is that front wheel. We've already got one, and if that gets buckled, we are done for. Now, we are definitely not going to be jumping particularly far in this. I was actually hoping for a little bit more performance from it. There's not much. We're going to hit every landing with our face. Whoa, look at it go. Look at it bound. In fact, it's done all of that, and the only real problem we've got is a flapping bit at the back. We've had two really heavy impacts, and the only thing that's been really damaged is the bed that is completely cosmetic. That goes to show just how tough this vehicle is. It's getting thrown about no end, and I am I'm a bit concerned actually watching that rear axle. I don't want it to collapse in the same way that the the van just did. The H-series axle. If that goes, yeah, this goes as well busted as that, we'll be in trouble. We're bouncing everything off the front of the pigeon, and it's not doing anything to it. What's going on? What is going on with our little pigeon? Admittedly, the differential in this is awful. Radiator springs not worked. Now that's more than cosmetic damage that time. We are going to have to try and get a little bit of a run up here. Come on, you can get out of there. There we go. That was a big hit on the front of the pigeon. Oh, it's now pulling to the left slightly. However, no real major damage was done. I say, yeah, as you can see with that front wheel, yeah, it's slightly pulling, but no, nothing else major. That is about the worst. The worst sort of impact on this course, I think, is that head-on with the landing of radiator springs. The rest isn't as terrible. You know, yes, you can tumble and you can roll off some of these jumps, but when it's rolling, it's dissipating energy. Yeah, you might end up losing a wheel across them. That is true. That is one of the fears. Whereas a head-on impact on radiator springs, you're not going to lose a wheel. But the simple force of going into that is quite vicious. Admittedly, it's not the fastest point on the course, but no real jump around here is that quick. Just the nature of the circuit. Oh, come on, pigeon. I'm amazed that rear axle is still on, quite frankly. Look at it go. I'm not sure if this is bouncier than the broken H-series or not. It's quite impressive. I seem to remember the 600 pigeon rolled a lot. Like an awful lot. You can imagine that the three-wheeled vehicle would roll a lot, but this one, it was almost going to make an entire lap without... Well, don't say anything yet. Don't say anything yet. We've got another motocross section to go. No, you're an idiot. You are an absolute... Oh, we've recovered it! It's fine. I'm still an idiot. However, we didn't roll it. Come on, pigeon. We can make a lap. We can make a lap without hopefully rolling. Although this isn't going to be fun, is it? This is not going to be fun at all. There is no oh, it's still doing it. Look at it go. It is dancing through the motocross section. Well, I say that. Oh, no, it's going to go again. Look at that. No problems at all. That is remarkable. Do I need to steer for this hairpin? No. In fact, I actually need to counter steer because it was turning in too much. That's how broken my steering is now. I mean, that's going to hurt in terms of being able to clear these jumps. Oh, it's done it again. It's stayed on its wheels. Oh, no, because we're not going to be able to make this next one. It's far too rough. It's bouncing around horrendously. Oh, in fact, because we're so slow and so broken, we didn't really take off properly, so that's fine. We're continuing to... It's just hopping. That's all it's doing now. It should be called the bunny, not the pigeon. And we're across to complete our opening lap. We've not rolled over. We got very close. We kind of rectified it. The issue with the hopping as well is not so much the loss of control, but it's not able to put any of its power down when it's doing that. It's horrendous, in fact. I'm thinking something's gone in the rear suspension. That wasn't how it... I mean, it wasn't great on the first time round, but that's definitely got worse. I'm fairly sure the rear wheels are spending 50% of their time up in the air. They're kind of taking it in turns, to be touching the ground, or sometimes neither of them are. It's not great. It's not great, I'm going to be honest. We're not going to be going fast enough up here to do any real serious damage to the pigeon. Oh, that might cause it some issues. Come on, keep going. The radiator's fine. You know, we've not got a problem with the radiator on this one. If this makes 4 laps, and becomes the new leader, then I think we cannot ever possibly top that with a series ever. I think it's going to end up... I think radiator springs on either this lap or next time round will bend the steering to the point where I can't drive it. That's what I'm feeling like at the moment, because it got so broken from that first impact when we are struggling to make it up these hills now. Oh, boing and bounce and bounce and... Oh, that lost a wing mirror. Oh, we've got the door open. That's... You know, about the extent of the damage that's been done to this. It's still, you know, able to move at a half decent pace. It's still able to move at enough to get it up around the course. Oh, because what we have happening, I say most of the impact's being taken by the front. I mean, it's not like there's Oh, come on now, don't give up on me here. It's not that there's actually a huge amount of overhang at the front to take the impacts, but it is doing a good job of keeping it away from the wheels. Oh, once more it is straight into radiator springs. Are we? Well, yeah, we're more buckled at the front than ever. Tell you what, the bodywork is doing an incredible job of shielding the radiator and the engine. It's doing an incredible job. Because of the way that it's taking these jumps, we're not actually hitting the underside of the Pigeon, so we're not really risking the drive shaft. We're not really risking the rear wheels too much because it's not going quick enough to get the big hang time. It's always going face first, and the front of the vehicle is so ridiculously strong. I'm not sure that bouncing around is actually well, I say it's not helping the rear suspension. I'm not sure that's good for the rear suspension. I don't know whether it could get enough force through that. I don't think we're going quick enough to get enough force through that to actually tear off one of the rear wheels. If we do lose a rear wheel, that will definitely be game over. However, for now, they are holding on remarkably well. Oh, is it going to be our first roll? Not quite. It's still landing on its wheels. Another problem that we could have is unlikely and is very rare for a vehicle to get to the state, but the chassis gets more and more bent. The front wheel is actually getting lower and lower with all of the impacts, and if we happen to lose momentum coming up one of the hills, if it's bouncing around as crazily as it has been, we can lose momentum and actually beach the vehicle at the top of a crest. As I said, unlikely, however, the damage that's going on to the front of this vehicle is kind of bending the chassis up in such a way that you might potentially see that. I'm amazed at how strong the front of this thing is. I can't remember what killed the last one. I have a feeling it overheated. And we have finally rolled the Pigeon for the first time. Couldn't quite make it 2 laps. Yeah, I had a feeling it went out from overheating. I think we got the radiator. But the fact is, we are now almost going to be coming around to complete our second lap. We're going to move on to lap number 3 with a bog standard Pigeon that's slightly heavier because we have the kind of van bit at the back on it. And aside from pulling horrendously to the left, no real harm has been caused to it. In fact, I think one of those crashes has actually straightened up the front wheel. We're better off than we were before coming down that second motocross section, as we are going to head on to lap number 3. The Pigeon of, well, it's starting to become the Pigeon of many flappy parts. If we get the other side door, I mean the driver's side door open, then we will have just about everything that can flap on the car is currently flapping. Up to 35 miles an hour. That's about as fast as it goes when it's in pristine condition. I don't have to steer around here either. No, I do actually. So, but we've fixed the steering. It was getting worse and worse and worse, and now we have fixed it. Surely this thing cannot go on to a 4th lap. Surely the mighty Caldera cannot be embarrassed by a Pigeon van with all of its... I don't know how tiny the engine is in this one. I don't know how many cc it is. Not very much. Not very many cc's at all, but it might be able to throw an upset. I mean, the fact that it's still going, I think, is enough. I really thought this one here would, you know, go out quicker than the much more powerful one. However, despite the fact that it is hitting everything, it's still moving. It is still moving and still in relatively good shape. The rolls that we've had have not been particularly damaging, nor particularly spectacular. It does, in some ways, help that it's not really fast enough to get up to any of the, well, big tumblings. However, it's still, you know, got enough speed to clear the jumps. It's still up to, oh god, get it, it's just about down. It's still having a horrendous impact every time across radiator springs. You know, up here, it's, you know, there are big impacts going on through the front of this. Oh, we are going to get it onto its wheels again. Come on, keep going, keep going. Now, this is probably the big test for the Pigeon. We've lost the rear bumper. Oh, I say, we're not going to clear it. Are we going to be able to survive it? Here we go. Into radiator springs. That has got the radiator. Come on, Pigeon. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Up. Hey. Now we're pulling very, very badly to the right. Poor front wheel. That poor front wheel is having all sorts of problems. The radiator has gone. Now, I am having to work this car very, very hard. Will it overheat within a lap? Oh, that is the big question. Will it overheat with a lap? I am having to pretty much drive it flat out everywhere, whereas with the more powerful pigeon, you might not have to be driving flat out everywhere. Oh, another flappy bit. We've lost the bonnet. We've lost the... Oh, there we go. Yeah, bonnet's going. We actually managed to split the tailgate at some point. Not quite sure how we've done that. It's kind of waving to us now. Oh, we've got... The front is perilously close to having issues with getting beached, or just the vehicle generally getting stuck around this course. I think it's just about got the ground clearance still to make this so that even if we bounce around, even if we get stuck somewhere, I think it can probably still keep going. It's so close. If we do, by some miracle, keep on going until that 4th lap, I don't know how we will survive the 4th time into Radiator Springs. It could bend the wheel back to being straight, it could bend the wheel all the way over and have it being completely useless. However, it does look like we are going to beat the Pigeon 600. I didn't think I was going to say that. It does look like as well, unless something goes terribly wrong. Probably shouldn't speak too soon. However, it looks like we might be able to make it onto a 4th lap with a pigeon van. Of all the things. Oh. I had to bloody say something. Oh no, it's pinged itself. The front wheel actually got twisted, but it was buckled, but it kind of unstuck itself as I was wiggling with the steering. Oh, it was at a 90-degree angle, I think, at one point, but it's managed to get freed, thankfully. Oh, it's done it again. It has actually gone and done it again, and it's got... Okay, there is not good times going on with that front wheel right now. There is not good times at all. Something extra has gone in there that is now causing it to occasionally lock 90 degrees to either the left or to the right. Oh, like that. Come on, come on. No, not now. Not now when you are so tantalizingly close. I've wiggled it free. Haha! We're on to the 4th lap with the pigeon. I can't believe I'm saying this. I really don't think we're going to make Radiator Springs on this 4th lap. I really think that is going to be the death of the front wheel. Hell, it might actually just get wedged at some point earlier on around the course. It's done it, though. On to the 4th lap with a pigeon. This is a ridiculous vehicle. It's just... I don't think you could actually see anything. No, you couldn't. You couldn't see anything from the driver's seat with the bonnet being stuck up like so. Will we be able to survive another landing of a jump? You see, the opening of the laps are relatively calm for the vehicles. They don't have too much ferocious forces to worry about. It's when we start getting across that section there is the first real test. But not enough damage has been done to stop the pigeon at all. This is going to be a big impact. That's going to be a horrible impact. Come on, wait, hold on. Let's get it in neutral. Find some drive. Yeah, the front wheel hanging on for dear life. Well, if we can ping out the other side of Radiator Springs without the wheel broken, we won't overheat before that section. We're not going to overheat before we get to Radiator Springs. It's whether the jump is going to be too much for it to survive. Oh, we're going to go for our first kind of complete roll. Oh, no. Come on, wiggle. There we go. It's it's unwedged itself once more. Oh, could we make five laps is pushing it. 5 laps is really pushing it. I can't believe this, though. Come on. Up towards Radiator Springs we go. For potentially the final time. It might not be. It might not be at all. I do fear that this will kill it. But we don't know. Come on, little pigeon. We can make it across the other side. No, we can't. No, we cannot. Although, we're still going. It lives. It lives. It doesn't steer anymore, but it lives. It is going to pass the Daytona. The Daytona was off in the fence over there and not driving. The pigeon has taken the lead. I thought when it hit the landing of Radiator Springs, I thought I saw the front wheel completely disintegrate, completely not be attached to anything anymore. But that was not the case at all. It's, again, it's twisting, but it's not snapping it. It's twisting it all the way to the side, but it's able to be recoverable. Well, I mean, the temperature gauge is going up. It is going up. It will eventually kill the pigeon. Or something like that is going to kill the pigeon. I'm not really sure that we've got much ground clearance left. We've lost a whole chunk of the door. Again, not sure where that went. I think that went at where Radiator Springs. But, yeah, we're struggling. I've kind of just got to keep the momentum up, because if we get stuck, if we stop, I'm not sure we're going to get it going again down here. Oh, come on. There we go. Flick the wheel back out again. Yeah, if we get stuck down here, if we stop down here, I really think we're going to struggle. The chassis isn't quite rubbing on the floor yet, but all it takes is getting beached at the top of one of these crests, and we would be done for. Come on, pigeon! Oh, it's taken another big, hefty whack. Come on, vehicle. You can make this. Surely. Possibly. You can do it. Get it onto a 5th lap. Embarrass all of the other vehicles. No! No, it's gone! The front wheel axle has died! Oh... There goes the front, and the front wheel has come off. The front wheel has completely and utterly come off. And I'm guessing we can't use... Do we actually have... we can't... Oh no, it's all twisted up and buckled. I don't know whether if that bit there was still on the ground at the right angle, whether we could use some sort of friction steering to get it. No. Oh. The abuse that front wheel axle survived is incredible. Yes, it wasn't going as quick, but it hit everything, and that front wheel axle survived so much, and a singular front wheel axle survived so much punishment. It's just a ridiculous amount of punishment went through that pigeon, and it kept going, and it kept going, and it wasn't even Radiator Springs that killed it. The motocross section has claimed another victim. However, we have a new leader, almost onto a 5th lap. That's some very, very good going from the pigeon of all cars. A horrendously underpowered pigeon has made it almost 5 laps around, almost onto its 5th lap around this course. That will take a hell of a beating. If the off-road van can't make it as far as this, then yeah, you get the idea of the task. Anything would have to try and overcome to go better than this pigeon. And the engine's not even dead yet. The engine's still working. It was just the loss of steering in the end that would kill it. So, on to our leaderboard, and the pigeon van sits proudly at the top of the table, beating the Caldera Daytona, the Grand Marshal, the 94 Comet, becoming only the 4th vehicle to make it on to that 4th lap. It is, well, now one of 2 pigeons in the top 10. It's yeah, a strange turn of events where we have the pigeons as one of the toughest vehicles. I was not expecting that when I started this series, however... Yeah, they have done mighty well indeed. We have to go a little further down, not too far though, for the off-roading van. 13th place for that. I would go out in an area with a lot of overheating vehicles around that part. Honestly, I don't think it had very long to live anyway. With that rear suspension gone, it was always going to be in trouble. It was sustaining heavy damage to the front as well. Of the kind of heavy-duty off-roaders, it has done pretty well, but... yeah, there were issues. There were certainly issues going on with that van. And finally, we have the Rock Bouncer down in 43rd place, but considerably better than the Hell Jeep with some strange driveline gremlins. I mean, it all kind of stems from it losing a wheel from a bit of oversteer and a twisted takeoff. But I don't know what I'm not sure. What caused that to finally give out in the peculiar manner? Like, if it never got going again when the wheel fell off, I would imagine, it's just the diffs, but that wasn't the case, so it's something weird went on with the driveline of that vehicle. That, though, is going to be it for this video. As ever, I shall link all the mods I've used in the description so you can download them, have a go with them yourself. But that'll be it from me. Thank you very much for watching, and until next time, goodbye.